Hi, welcome back to Mingus on Tech. I'm Ken Mingus, Executive News Editor for Computer World. Here we are for December 8th, 2016. I'm with Tracy Mayer, Senior Features Editor. I always stumble over that at Computer World. Mary Kay Pratt has been writing about hot tech skills for 2017 as part of our Forecast 2017 special report. So we're going to talk to Mary a few minutes about the hot tech skills that are coming up and what people need to know. So what did we find out with our research, Tracy?
So we love this package because it's our own special, it's our own research, and we survey exclusively senior IT people.
The people who know.
So we're talking in this case to the hiring managers, people who are in charge of the budgets, people who kind of have their eye on this stuff. So we're really getting it from the horse's mouth, which is great. And so we asked people who were planning on hiring this year, what are the skills that you're hiring for? And I'll just run through some of these, and then Mary's going to give us a little background since you've been talking with the actual hiring people. Programming, app dev, help desk, technical support.
Which is sort of surprising to me that, already looking to sort of staff up the help desk. Anyway.
I know, we need to talk about that. It's funny. Security is number 3. I'm not quite sure why it's number 1, except last year it was number 1, so maybe people got what they needed last year.
Yeah.
Cloud and software as a service.
Surprise.
Business intelligence, analytics, web development, database administration. It's kind of surprising that it popped up. Project management and big data. Those are top 10.
Yeah, and mobile app, number 10.
Oh,
mobile app development.
Okay.
Yep.
There it is right there.
Yep.
So Mary, you talked with all these people and tell us for
Lots
all
of
those
people,
times. So what's the mood out there?
Well, there's a lot of demand going on. There's a lot of work to be done, but they're not hiring real quickly. They want A players, as one hiring manager said. They want these skills, but they want a lot of other things together with it. They want the right skill set. They want business skills. For a number of years, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, a lot of hiring managers would say, we want these tech skills, and if we can have business skills, that's great too. Now it's, you got to have it. You got to have both.
So when you say business skills, you mean like that kind of, you're not talking about typing. You're talking, you're talking about that sort of strategic thinking, cooperative skills, being able to work with skills, the soft skills, the customer service mentality is really big in IT because they want to deliver business value. They want to see business understanding of the industry, understanding of what the organization's business goals are and what their needs are and how technology will serve that business strategy. That's really important. So you have to have these technical skills. Then you have to have that as well. And it's often what I found with these hiring managers, some of these skills, they're job titles. Security is a good example. You want the chief security officer and you want top security professionals. But number 1, programming, application development. If you are a programmer, you also have to have some security skills and probably a little bit of cloud know-how. They're not necessarily separate buckets. So a lot of these.
It's interesting, the idea that, in the old days that you would have somebody sort of siloed. You do this, you do mobile management, you do this. And it's like everybody now has to sort of do a little bit of everything with maybe a concentration and, a focus that they're hired for.
Yeah, I think that's a really good way to put it. There is that sense of, I have this core skill. This is what I'm going to be applying for. This will be my job title, but I have to bring in all these other pieces to the puzzle. Project management is another good one. You're going to have number 8 on our list. Yeah. You're going to have project managers, but these technical people are also going to have project management skills. They're going to have to understand the language of project management and how to put it together, how to move through a project. It's not just the project manager's position anymore to know that information.
Right, and especially with agile development and Scrum and all that stuff, you really need to keep that ball rolling. It's literally a daily check-in and that kind of fast. But I think it's interesting. So one of the things we found in the survey was that people said that their budgets were flat for this year and their hiring was going to be flat. They were anticipating flat headcount. So they need these skills, but they're not necessarily adding people. So one thing is this sort of combo thing, which is, let's get 3/4 of an app dev person with someone who can handle some of this project management. So you can have multi skills in the same person. But also you talked to several people who said, I think definitely like security and a couple other ones. They were not planning on actually hiring a full-time person inside their organization.
Yeah, there's a couple trends going on around that flat budget and slower hiring or smart hiring, as you said earlier. So even though these skills are in demand and you have these flat budgets, it's still, everyone said it's still a worker's market. I think that's a pure numbers game. There's just more demand than there are workers. So it's not bad news for workers. But how that work looks might be a little different. So one of the things we're seeing is that it's a lot of contract work, a lot more contract work than it was 5 or 10 years ago. Some of these projects like cloud, sometimes you're coming in doing a cloud initiative. You don't need, the company doesn't need a full-time worker indefinitely. They only need someone on staff for 5 months, 4 months, a year maybe. And that's great. A lot of workers like that because they can come in, do this project, get some skills, have a good experience, and when they're getting a little bored, they're ready to move on, and the company is ready to send them on their way, and they're on to the next gig. So it's not always bad. It's just a little bit different than what we've seen. And true that even if you're looking for cloud skills, it might be a skill set they'll look internally to add on to someone else's job responsibility. So you're getting workers who have an opportunity to pick up some new skills. But across the board, everyone I've talked to did say it is still mostly a workers market. So it is a good time still to be in technology.
And be out there.
It's interesting, the idea that, in the old days, you'd be hired by a company to do a specific job or, tackle a specific department. And that would be where you would kind of stay, 3, 4, 5 years maybe. But now you really do just sort of drop in, depending on the company's needs or the project at hand, do it, and then maybe shift to another project or maybe go to another company. The shifting back and forth, depending on what your skills are, is really interesting.
So we've covered, we've excuse me, we've definitely, we did something on the gig economy, which people tend to think of as a millennial thing, but it's really, even, some tech people into their 30s, if you've got the hot skills and you need to have that piece where you're willing to
have skills will travel.
Be looking for your next gig while you're still in your current gig. But some of these people were making a lot of money.
It's a great way to make a living. But that's not to say that people aren't hiring or that they're not still staffing IT departments. There are a lot of companies, and going back to our best places to work list, there are plenty of companies with robust IT departments who are building these skills internally or hiring for these skills. So it's just, there's a lot of activity, I think, at the bottom, at the end of the day.
Just going back to that quote, right, the beginning of the story had this great quote from one of your sources who said, he's got a twofold challenge. He's trying to find the talent, trying to determine if that person actually has the experience and the personality to thrive in the position. And you're working against the clock, but you also don't want to hire hastily. And then he said the pressure to hire an A player is huge. So every person that they bring in, they want to be a superstar, partially because 3-5 years from now, that person might be doing something completely different. So it's really looking at the whole person. I think this is a frustration for people who are, trying to get hired because it takes a long time because they really want the whole package.
And I think the cultural fit is part of that too. It's the skills, the business side of it, the cultural fit, and it's not just the cost of that immediate hire. That's another thing that came up with a lot of these hiring managers. It's expensive to bring someone on board to get them up to speed. And what they don't want is that person realizing, or the company realizing, this was not going to work out. You're not exactly what we want for whatever reason, because not only do they lose the money they put in, the investment they put into that person, now they're back to square one. So projects can get delayed. They're late launching initiatives that the businesses need, which delays business goals. That's a huge responsibility on these hiring managers.
I was talking to somebody about hiring recently, and the whole idea that it's as important to hire for temperament as it is for the skills, because the skills you can train somebody. You can, if they're flexible, but if you've got somebody that doesn't fit in the culture, no matter what they know, if they're not fitting in, they're not getting things done. And you can't change that. So it's important to keep that in mind.
They're looking at the thinking skills of individuals and their initiative and their intuition and how self-motivated they are, and that sense of what can you bring to the table that we don't already have. And they're very fuzzy qualities. It's how do you test for that? How do you measure for that? And sometimes it is really, and I think that's why it takes so long to hire. It takes a while to get to know these individuals.
So for people who are looking for jobs for next year, you have a lot of homework
Yes, you do.
So combine the skills, and then put your happy face on or your whatever face on
or something.
I think, but I always say, research the company. I think more than ever, really try to figure out what's going on with that particular company, what their goals are, and just also what their vibe is. So. But yeah, that's a lot to think about if you're getting into the job market in 2017.
Yep. So this is part of our big project.
Yes. So everything's online. It's there's 4 or 5 different pieces of editorial. We also have hot trends for the year, disruptive trends for the year. We've got a couple slideshows, a couple videos, all kinds of information. And new this year,
yes, this is the best part, free.
A bonus. This is the entire survey, all the survey results. We have never released them before, but we made them into really nice PDF, which you can print and read on the train
and drill down really into specific
so it's
areas.
All there's way more data in here than we are able to cover, and this has everything. So if you got a specific area that you're looking at, you're looking specifically at cloud, you're looking at SaaS, and or whatever your thing is, you can find your results in here.
Great.
And it's all online.
Awesome. That's going to be a great resource.
Great.
Okay, so that's a quick look at hot skills for 2017. Tracy, thanks for being here.
Thank
Mary,
you.
Thank you for showing up
Thanks
second time in a
Yes,
row.
I know.
Yep. For now, that's a wrap.